My name is Sara, and this is a story I never thought I would tell. When I was 18, my life changed completely. My father had died when I was little, and for many years, it was just me and my mother. We lived a quiet, simple life in a small town. She worked hard, and I studied with dreams of becoming a teacher. But when my mother met Khalid, everything started to change. He was a gentleman, at least that's what everyone said. He had a calm voice, always spoke politely, and seemed to care about my mother. After a few months of knowing each other, he proposed to her. At first, I was not happy. I didn't want to share my mother with anyone. But she looked at me one night and said, "Sara, I have spent many years alone. I need someone who will take care of us." So she married him. After the wedding, we moved into Khalid's house, a large place in the city. It was the first time I met his son, Rayan, my new stepbrother. He was 22, tall, quiet, and had sharp brown eyes. He smiled when he first saw me and said, "Welcome home, little sister." I smiled back shyly, but something about the way he looked at me made my heart skip. It wasn't a brotherly look. It felt strange. Days passed, and life seemed to adjust. Khalid was kind to me and treated me like his own daughter. My mother seemed happy again. But slowly, I started to notice things about Rayan. He would often stand by the door when I was talking to Mom. When I looked up, he would quickly turn away. Sometimes when I passed by his room, he would call out softly, "Hey, Sara, can you help me with something?" At first it was simple things, helping him find a book, fixing his computer, or getting something from the kitchen. But soon, his tone changed. He started sitting too close, or touching my shoulder when there was no need. I didn't say anything. I thought maybe I was overthinking. I didn't want to cause problems for my mother. But one evening, something happened that I couldn't ignore. It was raining heavily outside. My mother and Khalid had gone to visit relatives, leaving me and Rayan alone at home. The power went out, and the house became dark and silent. I lit a candle and sat near the window, reading. Then I heard footsteps behind me. It was Rayan. He sat on the sofa next to me, closer than usual. The candlelight flickered across his face. He looked serious. "You're scared of the dark?" he asked softly. "Greater than—" "No," I replied, pretending to smile. "I'm fine." He kept staring at me for a long moment, then said something that made me freeze. "You don't have to act shy around me. We're family now, but you're not really my sister, right?" His words echoed in the silent room. My throat went dry. "Greater than, what do you mean?" I whispered. He smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that made me comfortable. It felt wrong. I stood up, trying to walk away, but he caught my wrist gently. "Greater than Sara, relax. I'm just joking," he said, but his hand didn't let go immediately. My heart started to race. I pulled away and ran to my room, locking the door behind me. My hands were shaking, and tears filled my eyes. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing his words again and again. "You're not really my sister." For the first time, I felt afraid in my own house. The next morning, I tried to act normal. My mother returned, smiling as she cooked breakfast. Rayan acted like nothing had happened. He was calm, polite, and even helped my mom carry groceries. I wanted to tell her, but something inside me stopped me. What if she didn't believe me? What if it ruined her marriage again? She had finally found happiness after so many years. I didn't want to break that, but I also couldn't forget that night. I started avoiding Rayan, keeping my door locked whenever I was home alone. Still, his eyes followed me. At breakfast in the hallway, even when he smiled, there was something behind it that made me uncomfortable. Days turned into weeks. I thought maybe things would go back to normal, but I was wrong. One evening, when my mom and Khalid went out again, I heard a soft knock on my door. It was him. "Greater than Sara," he said quietly. "I need to talk to you." I didn't answer. He knocked again, louder this time. "Greater than, come on, open the door. I won't hurt you. I just need to explain." My heart was beating fast. I didn't know what to do. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a message from my mother. "Greater than, we'll be late tonight. Don't wait for dinner." I felt cold. I realized I was alone again. Just me and him in the house. I held my phone tightly, staring at the message from my mother. "We'll be late tonight." Those words made my heart race. The sound of Rayan's footsteps outside my room grew louder. "Sara," he said again, his voice lower this time. "Please open the door. I just want to talk. I didn't move." My hands trembled. I stayed silent, praying he would go away. Minutes passed, then everything went quiet. I thought he was gone, but suddenly I heard the doorknob twist. He was trying to open it. "Rayan, stop," I shouted, my voice shaking. He didn't reply. Then the sound stopped completely. I waited for what felt like hours before I finally dared to open the door a little. The hallway was empty. He had gone back to his room. I closed the door again and leaned against it, crying silently. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I decided I couldn't live in fear anymore. I told myself, "Sara, if you stay quiet, it will never stop." So after breakfast, I gathered all my courage and went to my mother. She was sitting on the sofa, smiling while watching TV. I sat beside her and took a deep breath. "Mom, I need to tell you something," I said softly. She turned to me, her smile fading when she saw my face. "What's wrong, my dear?" I hesitated for a moment, then told her everything. The night of the storm, how he spoke, the way he looked at me, and the knocking on my door. My voice broke as I spoke, but I didn't stop. My mother listened quietly, her face growing pale. When I finished, she stood up and walked out of the room without saying a word. I followed her. She went straight to Rayan's room and shouted, "Rayan, come here right now." He came out, confused. "What happened?" "Tell me," she cried. "Did you do what Sara said?" For a moment, he stayed silent, then looked at me with cold eyes and said, "She's lying. She misunderstood everything. I never did anything wrong." My heart sank. I looked at my mother, tears filling my eyes. "Mom, I'm not lying." But she didn't say anything. She just sat down, holding her head in her hands. Khalid came home soon after, and when my mother told him everything, his face turned red with anger. He turned to his son and shouted, "You've shamed me, Rayan. How could you even think of such a thing?" For the first time, I saw fear in Rayan's eyes. He tried to argue, but Khalid slapped him and said, "You will leave this house tonight." Rayan packed his things and left quietly. The silence that followed was heavy. My mother came to me later that night and hugged me tightly. "I'm so sorry, Sara," she whispered. "I should have protected you sooner." We both cried. For days, the house felt empty and broken, but somehow peaceful. Rayan never returned. Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. I focused on my studies again, and my mother and colleagues supported me. But something inside me had changed. I was stronger now. One evening, my teacher asked me to give a small speech at school on the topic, the importance of speaking up. As I stood in front of the class, my hands shook a little, but I looked at the faces around me, other young girls like me, and I spoke from my heart. Sometimes the people who hurt us are not strangers, I said. Sometimes they live inside our homes, but silence only protects the wrong person. When you speak up, you don't just save yourself, you stop the pain from reaching someone else. When I finished, the whole class was silent. My teacher had tears in her eyes. After that day, many girls came to me privately, sharing their own stories, things they had kept secret for years. That's when I realized my story wasn't just mine. It was a message for every girl who was afraid to speak. Years later, I became a teacher, just like I always wanted. But more than that, I became a voice for those who couldn't speak. I started visiting schools and giving talks about self-protection, awareness, and emotional courage. Whenever I looked at those young faces, I would remember that scared 18-year-old girl who once hid in her room, and I would whisper to myself, "You did the right thing, Sara. You didn't stay silent. Silence can protect the wrong person. Always speak up, no matter how hard it feels." Real family is not made of blood. It's made of love, respect, and safety.